In the year 20XX, an unprecedented earthquake struck Japan, causing chaos in the city streets. A man selflessly shielded a small child from falling debris, mirroring a past tragedy. As his life faded, he realized he was dying in an earthquake, protecting a child he didn't even know, just like his parents had. He finally understood the feelings his parents must have had in their final moments. With his last thoughts drifting to his mom and dad, his consciousness faded into darkness. Suddenly, his eyes snapped open to a new, unfamiliar world. He awoke in a daze, wondering if he was still alive and where he was. He looked down at his own small hands in confusion. He looked up to see a familiar face and realized with a shock that it was his father. His father looked down at him, murmuring his new name, Kai. A gentle voice spoke, telling him that his name is Kai. He turned to see his mother, also alive and well. His new parents cradled him, grateful for his birth. The realization dawned on him. He had been turned into a baby, reborn to become the strongest exorcist. Kai's mind raced with confusion, trying to understand what was happening. He knew he had just died, yet here he was, a baby in his mother's arms. His parents, who he knew to be dead, were alive and with him. It was as if time itself had been reversed. His mother, Mayumi, called out his father's name, Akihiko, confirming his identity. Akihiko held his wife's hand, asking her to please take care of their son, Kai. An attendant interrupted, telling Akihiko to step back for the spirit summoning ritual. As a baby, Kai could only watch, confused about what was starting. He was in a large, candlelit room, surrounded by people in ceremonial attire. Kai surveyed the strange atmosphere, wondering where he was. An elder addressed his father, Lord Shirakami, telling him to be prepared. He explained that disasters have been caused by evil spirits since ancient times. To prevent these calamities, they must let an evil spirit possess the newborn baby to satisfy its desires. The elder declared that only they, the exorcists, could perform this duty. Kai was bewildered to hear the word exorcists. This summoning was critical, as it involved the strongest evil spirit, the demon god Dauma, and was necessary to maintain peace. Akihiko knew that if the ritual failed, disaster would befall humanity, but he also knew the terrible price of success. The attendants urged a distraught Akihiko to move away, warning him that time was running out. He hesitated, his hand reaching for his wife. As he was pulled away, Akihiko looked back at his family and whispered an apology. An exorcist shook a ceremonial bell, announcing the beginning of the summoning ritual for the demon god Dauma. Kai watched as a strange power began to emanate from his mother. The ritual commenced, filling the room with a powerful energy. Mayumi cried, apologizing to Kai and asking for forgiveness for leaving him behind. A dark, sinister presence began to coalesce around the infant. A voice echoed in Kai's head, surprised that a baby possessed a sense of self, before introducing itself as Dauma and declaring its intent to take over his body. Kai wondered who this person was, as the voice told him to watch closely as its curse took hold. The voice commanded Kai to watch his mother die. The dark energy intensified around his mother, causing Kai to cry out for her. Horrified, Kai realized this entity intended to kill his mother. Having just been reunited with them, Kai refused to be separated from his parents again. He screamed his defiance. Memories of their funeral in his past life flooded his mind, the pitying whispers about the small children left behind. He remembered people talking about how his mother died trying to save a child she didn't even know. He recalled the pain and confusion of his youth. He remembered questioning why his parents would sacrifice themselves for others as if their own children didn't matter. He resolved that he would not let that happen again, absolutely not. With a powerful surge of willpower, Kai declared that this time, he would be the one to protect them. The demon god Dauma was shocked, questioning how a mere baby could withstand its domination. The other exorcists were stunned, as Dauma's cursed aura suddenly disappeared. Akihiko rushed to his wife's side, and Mayumi confirmed she was okay. He could still feel Dauma's dark magic within Kai, meaning the summoning was a success. However, the curse hadn't activated, leaving Akihiko to wonder how it was possible. Lord Akake declared the event unprecedented, as the curse of matricide had failed to activate. Another exorcist explained that a possessed baby always kills its mother, and this curse has never failed before. This was especially strange, since it was a curse from the powerful demon god Dauma, whose overwhelming power was expected to kill everyone nearby. Akake concluded that the situation was ominous. Akake insisted that the baby might explode with hidden power and must be disposed of immediately. Akihiko furiously refused to allow it. As Dauma's voice taunted Kai about the order to kill him, Mayumi cried out in fear for her son. The demon's aura flared up around Kai again. The exorcists panicked, thinking the demon was coming after them. However, Dauma's voice urged Kai not to kill. With a cry, Kai suppressed the dark energy. The aura subsided, leaving the onlookers bewildered. Dauma was stunned, unable to understand why its power couldn't dominate the baby, while Kai realized he could control the rampage with his willpower. Lord Akake, speaking with his life on the line, once again proposed that the baby be disposed of. Akihiko firmly refused his proposal. Just then Lord Jinzen stepped in, telling them both to calm down. Lord Jinzen explained that the custom of the ritual is to keep the curse dormant for a minimum of 7 years. Therefore, Akake realized they had no choice but to wait until the child's 7th birthday. Akake internally grumbled that Jinzen had gone soft, but he was forced to concede. A voice in Kai's head pestered him, but he found it merely annoying. The voice Dauma was surprised Kai could hear it and recognized he was more than just a baby. Meanwhile, Akihiko returned to Mayumi, telling her he had sent everyone away. He then prepared to tell her something unbelievable. Mayumi told her husband that she felt a momentary presence of light magic from their child. Akihiko confirmed he felt it too. He noted it happened the exact moment Dauma's dark aura disappeared, and that likely only they, being so close, could feel it. He had never heard of anyone possessing two conflicting magical attributes like light and darkness. He began to suspect that his son, Kai, might be someone special. He believed his son might become something incredible. 4 years passed since that day. In the city of Tokyo, where Kai now lived, news reports warned citizens that spirit demons could appear anywhere in their daily lives. This world was completely different from the ordinary one he came from. In this world ruled by magic, people lived fighting against threats called spirit demons. Akihiko remarked that his son, Kai, was always obsessed with information about exorcists. Kai explained that since they are an exorcist family, and both his parents are exorcists, he must study now so he can become a great exorcist in the future. Akihiko tried to caution his son, asking if he understood how dangerous the spirit demons they fight are. Kai acknowledged that even exorcists can't easily defeat them, but that's why they fight to protect the world. His father warned that it's a job where you can get hurt or even die. Kai declared that he needed to become strong so he could protect his mom and dad when the time comes. Kai stated his desire to become strong. His father was caught off guard by his son's serious tone. Seeing his mother, Kai cheerfully announced he was going out to play. She smiled and told him to be careful as he ran off to the garden. Akihiko told Mayumi that while Kai sometimes says mature things, seeing him play like a child is reassuring. Mayumi asked if he had said he wanted to be an exorcist again, and her husband confirmed it. She hoped he wasn't feeling pressured, especially since they were one of the 7 great exorcist families. Kai made his way through the garden. Once he was sure he was out of sight from the house, he stopped. A familiar voice spoke in his mind, calling out to him. Dauma asked if they were doing that again today. Kai simply agreed, asking if Dauma would join him. Suddenly Dauma lunged, shouting that it was just kidding and that Kai had thought it would actually agree. Kai braced himself, annoyed at yet another takeover attempt. Kai easily repelled the dark energy, telling Dauma to give up. He remarked that he could stop the takeover attempts almost unconsciously now. He calmly addressed the spirit within him. Dauma appeared in her humanoid form, scoffing that he resisted more desperately as a baby. Kai told her not to get cocky, asking how many takeover challenges she thought he'd endured. This has been his reality since the day he was born into this world. Since his birth, Dauma had taken every opportunity to try and take over his body. When Dauma felt its power surging, it would declare its intent to take over. But Kai would always fight back, refusing to let it happen. Even as a baby, when he was bored and couldn't move freely, Kai wondered if this was normal for infants. Dauma would offer to take over to kill sometime, only to be met with resistance. The takeover attempts continued relentlessly. While he was practicing crawling, Dauma would interrupt him. It would offer to help with his practice by taking over his body. But Kai, determined, always refused and pushed back. Dauma had tried everything, from attacking while he was standing on his own for the first time to when he was asleep or distracted by television. Lately, the frequency of attacks had decreased, which was a relief to Kai. However, Dauma insisted she was just being naive before, and she hasn't given up her goal of taking over his body. As Kai struggled with his exercises, Dauma criticized his tempo. He pointed out that for someone who always talks about taking over, she was helping him train. Flustered, Dauma denied it, shouting that she wasn't helping at all. She claimed she was only aiming for an opening when he got tired, which was the only reason she was training him. Kai thanked her anyway, admitting that her presence was a great help. He admitted that he had actually been a bit lonely. Since he couldn't control magic well yet, this was the only way he could train to get stronger. He couldn't tell his parents about Dauma because he didn't want to worry them. Dauma found it complicated to think she was helping him gain power. As Kai pushed through his sit-ups with Dauma's help, he remarked on how difficult it was. Dauma claimed the pressure made the training more effective. Kai retorted that it wasn't pressure, just a distraction. Suddenly, Dauma covered his mouth, telling him not to make a sound. She fell silent, sensing something in the woods. She announced that they were being watched by something in the bushes. It was another surveillance Shikigami. Dauma wondered who sent it and why. She concluded it was likely because Kai was such an unusual vessel. Dauma explained that he avoided the curse of matricide and was preventing her takeover, which made him unusual. To human eyes, a child harboring her soul must look very strange. Kai figured the master of the Shikigami was one of the exorcists who participated in the ritual. He hadn't minded the occasional surveillance before, but being watched every day was getting unnerving as the frequency had increased. Startled, Kai asked if his magic power measurement was really tomorrow. Dauma confirmed it. She mused that depending on the result, it would be interesting to see how he reacts. She cryptically told Kai to look forward to it, leaving him confused. The next day, a doctor delivered the results of Kai's magic power measurement. With difficulty, he announced that the result was unmeasurable. Akihiko, confused, asked the doctor what he meant by unmeasurable. The doctor explained that the test reagent changes color depending on the amount of magic power. The colors range from light blue to purple, with red indicating the highest power, a rarity of 1 in 10 million. However, Kai's test reagent remained completely colorless and transparent. This meant his magic power was 0. The doctor added that since magic power is generally determined by age 3, the result was likely permanent. Kai processed the devastating news. He had no talent for magic. Akihiko couldn't believe it, asking the doctor if there was another possibility. But Kai, overwhelmed with disappointment, suddenly ran from the room. His father called after him, but he didn't stop. As he fled, the surveillance Shikigami watched from the bushes. He ran until he couldn't run anymore. Collapsing to the ground, Kai finally understood the result. He looked at his hands, despairingly wondering if this meant he could never become an exorcist. From behind him, a voice cackled. Dauma's disembodied voice laughed at Kai's confusion. The demon explained that the observer had heard the result and made a huge misunderstanding. Kai, startled, told Dauma to be quiet. It seems their observer, upon hearing that Kai's magic power was 0, misjudged that they could eliminate him immediately. Just as Dauma spoke, the Shikigami erupted into a new form. Kai watched in shock as the master of the Shikigami made a move. A massive, monstrous beast emerged from the trees. Kai stared in disbelief, realizing it was a spirit demon, as Dauma confirmed his father's warnings were correct. Dauma told Kai this wasn't the time to discuss what the unmeasurable test result meant. Just then, Akihiko arrived, shocked to find a spirit demon on their property. Dauma appeared behind Kai, grabbing his head and declaring that now was the time for him to know his own power. Confused and scared, Kai could only question what she was doing. A strange energy began to surge through him. Kai felt a hot sensation rushing through his entire body. Dauma explained that to use sorcery, one needs to carve the formula of each technique into their body. She had just poured the formula for one such sorcery, the lightning art Reigu, directly into him. With the formula now in his body, Dauma ordered him to defeat the spirit demon. Kai protested that it was impossible since he had no magic power to use it. As the demon lunged, Dauma mockingly asked if he was still saying that. Dauma told him that with his current mindset, protecting anything would be impossible. She reminded him that his vow to protect his parents was powerful enough to repel her domination and questioned if that vow was only worth that much. Her words struck Kai, challenging his resolve. Realizing she was right, Kai stopped making excuses and resolved to protect his parents. He focused his energy, preparing to use everything he had to unleash the lightning art. With a determined cry, he unleashed the technique, shouting its name, Reigu. The blast of power was immense. Dauma laughed, scoffing at the idea that this child had no talent for magic. She mocked the very idea that his power could be measured by something so trivial. Dauma told Kai that he would become an unprecedented exorcist. Guided by a demon god, his talent would bloom on his path to supremacy. She declared that she, Dauma, would bear witness to it all. At the sight of the massive explosion, a group of exorcists surveyed the devastation. They noted that while a spirit demon was clearly involved, the sheer scale of destruction seemed far beyond its power. Standing silently nearby, Akihiko took in the scene with a grave expression. Hidden behind a tree, Dauma gets Kai's attention. She playfully asks why he needs to hide his power from his parents, but Kai insists they would be far more than just worried if they knew what he did. Elsewhere, Akihiko reflected on Kai's magic measurement results. He never imagined his son's power would be so high. Worried about his father, Kai couldn't stay put and went looking for him. Dauma chided him for his curiosity. Just then, Akihiko appeared, confirming he heard the massive explosion from the yard. Akihiko mused that he hadn't heard anything about the incident. Kai noted the general uproar and worry among the people. Believing danger was now too close, Akihiko declared they could no longer afford to be careless. He told Kai that his decision to become an exorcist could not be delayed. His special training would begin the following week. Kai was stunned, remembering his magic measurement results. Seeing his son's hesitation, Akihiko asked him once more to confirm his resolve. He asked Kai directly, did he truly want to become an exorcist? A few days later, Kai stood before his family's dojo, with Dauma remarking on its impressive size. When Dauma noticed his silence, she asked what was wrong. Kai admitted he was a little nervous, which Dauma found odd, reminding him this was the training he'd always wanted. His father introduced his new exorcist instructor, a woman named Kagami. Kai had assumed his father would be teaching him, but Akihiko explained that he sought out an instructor with experience teaching vessel children. He noted that such instructors are rare, but he managed to find Kagami. Before leaving, Akihiko knelt down and gave Kai a small charm. He told his son it was proof that he was watching over him and wished him the best. With renewed determination, Kai agreed. As Akihiko departed, Dauma teased Kai. She asked if he was sad that his father was leaving, but Kai silently steeled his resolve. Just then, Kagami addressed him as Master Kai. She bowed deeply, stating she looked forward to their session. Kai was taken aback by her incredibly formal and deep bow. Flustered, he quickly asked his new teacher to raise her head. She hesitated, asking if it was really okay. She timidly agreed and rose. Kagami's first instruction was strange. She told him to please enjoy himself. She then declared that she was a sandbag for him to practice on. A confused Kai asked what she meant, and she explained a sandbag was for practicing punches and kicks. When he still seemed unsure, she panicked, assuming he was displeased and offering to hang from a rope instead. Kai quickly stopped her, bowing and stating that he simply wants to become an exorcist, asking her to teach him from the basics. His sincerity caught Kagami completely off guard, making her question if he was truly a cursed child. Composing herself, Kagami apologized and agreed, saying it was her area of expertise. Internally, she chastised herself for using the discriminatory term, cursed child. Despite her attempt to be professional, she couldn't shake the thought that vessel children were impossible to deal with. In her mind, they were nothing but cursed children. Her prejudice was born from a traumatic past where she was used as a target. She suffered countless humiliations at the hands of other children. They treated her like a ball in their cruel games. She believed that Kai, as the vessel for the strongest evil spirit, would be the worst of them all. She steeled herself, determined not to let her guard down. The lesson began with Kagami explaining the 3 principles of an exorcist: mind, technique, and body. Using a simple diagram, she detailed how taijutsu builds the body, yajutsu transforms magic, and mind techniques shape the soul, noting they would start with the body. Kagami told Kai that at his age, practicing technique and mind was not feasible. When she asked if he had questions, Kai eagerly raised his hand. He excitedly asked to see yajutsu. Surprised, Kagami was flustered. She reluctantly agreed to demonstrate. She performed a simple fire art, firefly light, conjuring a small flame in her hand. Kai was utterly amazed by the sight. He rushed forward to get a closer look. He excitedly asked how it was even possible for fire to come from her hand. Dauma appeared, mocking Kai for being impressed by such a small fire when he had performed something far more amazing. She explained that since the formula was already in his body, he could use his own powerful techniques anytime. When Kai said he couldn't just use flashy techniques, Dauma was unimpressed. She accused him of being scared to fail. Realizing he'd spoken her name aloud, Kai panicked. Kai asked how to perform the Yajutsu, and a flustered Kagami agreed to explain. She explained that there are textbook-like guides for each technique. She produced one, calling it the Book of Arts. She told him he didn't need to read it, but simply touch it. Kagami explained that by touching the book, the technique's formula flows into the body, after which one must use image training to activate it. She warned that this is the most difficult part and requires aptitude. Kai realized this was how techniques were normally learned. He saw it as a chance to finally impress Dauma. Kai placed his hand on the book, absorbing the formula. Kagami informed him that the formula within was for the same fire art she had just demonstrated. With a smirk directed at Dauma, Kai prepared to try it himself. He focused, declaring this his first step to becoming an exorcist, and confidently attempted to cast Firefly Light. An awkward silence filled the dojo. His attempt had failed. Dauma burst out laughing at his overconfidence, and Kai yelled at her to stop, embarrassed. Kagami could only wonder in disbelief if the technique really didn't activate. Humbled, Kai asked Kagami if there was a trick to it. Hours passed as he practiced the same technique over and over without success. Kagami eventually pointed out how long he'd been at it, suggesting he must be tired by now. She suggested they end the training for the day. But Kai refused, asking to continue a bit longer. Internally, Kagami realized she had misunderstood, thinking Yajutsu would be easy for him. Kai felt frustrated, sensing the image of the technique but unable to grasp it. Slumped in defeat, Kai admitted his impatience and began to worry that he lacked talent. Kagami tried to reassure him, explaining that mastering a first Yajutsu can take a considerable amount of time, sometimes even months for children. Hearing this, Kai only concluded that he wasn't practicing nearly enough. With renewed resolve, Kai declared he would try harder. Kagami thought to herself that he was determined to succeed as soon as possible. He told her he felt he was making progress thanks to her tips. As Kagami noticed how late it was, Kai told her she could go home and that he would continue practicing on his own. She firmly told him that was enough for one day. Suddenly, Kagami's demeanor changed, and she accused Kai of hiding his true colors. She stated that a cursed child should have no trouble with Yajutsu. She questioned his motives for pretending to be a normal child and accused him of enjoying her being pushed around. She confessed she came to see his true, cursed nature. She told him to stop joking about wanting to be an exorcist. She demanded he act like the arrogant cursed children she knew before. She explained that all the vessel children she'd met treated humans as toys. They found their ultimate pleasure in tormenting and abusing them. She looked at him with fear and disgust, asking if he was just like them. Kai vehemently denied it. Kai insisted he was different and would never do such things to her. He admitted he was a vessel child, but was there of his own free will. Kagami was shocked to hear his heart hadn't been taken over. He explained that he wants to be an exorcist because his parents protected him, and he realized how irreplaceable they are. He continued, saying his very existence felt like a miracle. He confessed he was terrified of losing his precious family again. That's why he wanted to become strong to protect them. Kagami was still skeptical, asking how she could believe he was different. Kai looked at her and declared that he would prove it. He vowed that he would definitely protect his family and all his precious things from evil. He added that he would protect her too, from the evil that hurts her unreasonably, leaving Kagami speechless. Dauma's voice cut in, scoffing at his big talk and cheekily asking if she was included in that evil. She then told Kai to stop dawdling. She reminded him that with his power, mastering Yajutsu should not take long. She declared he should already be able to use Firefly Light, leaving Kai and Kagami surprised. Dauma asked him to remember the common feeling he had when he resisted her control and when he used the lightning art, Reigo. With a flash of understanding, Kai clenched his fist and thanked Dauma. He then turned to his teacher and told her to watch. He would show her the proof, the feeling of his resolve to protect. With newfound determination, Kai focused his will and successfully cast the spell, shouting Fire Art Firefly Light as a warm flame ignited in his hand, shocking Kagami. Kagami stared in disbelief, wondering how he mastered Yajutsu in just a few hours. She could feel no trace of dark magic from the flame. Instead, she sensed something else, a faint sensation she recognized. It was an ultra-rare attribute that appears only once every few hundred years. She realized with a start that it was light magic, the only power said to be able to oppose dark magic. In Kai's hand, now sworn to his master, lay the sign of the strongest exorcist. A year has passed since Kai first learned to use spirit arts. He spars with his master, Kagami, unleashing a powerful water technique. She easily deflects it, noting that his power and control have been steadily improving. Now 5 years old, Kai continues his training to become an exorcist, but worries weigh heavily on his heart. As Kagami encourages him to keep up the pace, Kai agrees. Dauma appears, wondering about his gloomy expression. Dauma suddenly appears right in his face, teasing him about his gloomy look. Startled, Kai flinches back, flustered by her sudden appearance. He tells her not to pop up so suddenly, then asks Kagami if they can take a short break. As Kai sits brooding, Dauma floats over, remarking that his mood isn't fun for her either. She asks what's bothering him. He confesses his doubts about whether he is truly okay like this. Although he's learned many spirit arts over the past year, he feels he isn't truly growing stronger. He admits none of them compare to the power of the first art he ever used. His thoughts drift back to his training with Kagami. She warned him that if he couldn't break through her spirit art, he'd never be able to defeat demons in actual combat. This criticism feeds his self-doubt, making him question if he can truly protect his parents. He recalls the traumatic memory of his parents from his previous life, who died right after his 6th birthday. He's determined to prevent his parents from meeting the same fate in this world. With only 1 year left until his 6th birthday, his anxiety grows with each perceived failure. Lost in thought, he doesn't notice Dauma trying to get his attention. She snaps him out of it, and he apologizes for not listening. She playfully asks if he's lonely because his parents aren't around. Dauma expresses genuine worry, finding it unusual for a 5-year-old to be so troubled. Kai deflects, asking how old she was when she could first use spirit arts. She boasts that the greatest exorcist in history herself first used them at 4 years and 7 months old. Before she can continue, Kai looks up, suddenly noticing something. Dauma reminds him that today is a special day. Kai realizes it's his 5th birthday. She chides him for his gloomy face, warning he'll spoil the mood for those who prepared a celebration. Confused, Kai slides open a door, wondering what she means. Party poppers explode as Kai enters the room. He is greeted by his parents, Akihiko and Mayumi, who wish him a happy birthday over a beautifully decorated cake. Overwhelmed, Kai thanks them. As his parents admire the cake, his father wonders how they should cut it. Kai apologizes to them in his thoughts. Despite their efforts, his looming fears prevent him from celebrating with a truly happy heart. Dauma impatiently urges Kai to eat the cake, complaining that she's been waiting a whole year for it. Kai recalls that on his last birthday, Dauma was writhing in agony after tasting cake for the first time. Trembling with anticipation, she prepares for her first bite. As Dauma blissfully enjoys the cake, Kai observes that she really loves sweets. She declares the once-a-year treat is top tier. However, she notices that even while eating something so delicious, Kai still looks troubled. She asks why he isn't savoring it more, but he simply replies that he is. His mother, Mayumi, approaches with another dish, telling him not to be so afraid of losing things. She presents a bear-shaped omelette rice, apologizing for its clumsy shape. Touched, Kai says it tastes delicious. The meal triggers a memory from his past life. His mother then was always busy with work, so his grandmother did most of the cooking. He remembers being overjoyed when she made him a bear-shaped meal, just like this one. He told her it might look clumsy, but it was really yummy, and she smiled, saying she did her best. It was a day that always made him incredibly happy. Back in the present, Kai devours the omelette rice. He exclaims to his mother how delicious it is, and she smiles, surprised by how hungry he is. With tears welling in his eyes, he happily asks for a second helping. His father gently chides him for eating so fast. Just then, Kagami arrives with tea. Kai, surprised, apologizes for not noticing her. She assures him it's fine as she pours him a cup. Kagami feels bad for not bringing a gift. She offers to help serve tea instead. Akihiko thanks her for joining them on such short notice. He expresses his gratitude for her overseeing Kai's training. He explains that due to Kai's status as a vessel, he's had almost no interaction with anyone outside the family. Akihiko tells Kagami he is thankful she is close to Kai. He asks her to continue looking after him, and she agrees. Silently, she vows to watch over him closely. Their conversation is interrupted by the sound of a baby crying. Mayumi enters with Kai's baby sister, Meguru, joking that she wants to celebrate his birthday too. He eagerly asks his mother if he can hold her. Seeing his sister, Kai is struck by a memory from his past. He remembers his sister from his previous life. After their parents died, they were both immature and clashed constantly. They became estranged, and he regrets that he was never able to be a proper brother to her. As he thinks this, his mother notes how much Meguru seems to love him. Holding Meguru, Kai feels a renewed sense of purpose. He believes that in this new life, he can change his future and his sister's. He quietly promises her that this time, he will cherish her properly. His parents watch on, slightly perplexed by his sudden intensity. Suddenly, Mayumi stumbles and collapses. A shocked Kai cries out for his mother. Akihiko rushes to her side, calling her name. Akihiko and Kai rush to Mayumi's side. She apologizes, saying she suddenly felt dizzy and thinks it might just be anemia. Akihiko asks if she has any other symptoms, but she insists she's fine, just a little dizzy. Kagami suggests it would be best to see a doctor just in case. She volunteers to stay and watch the children while they are gone. Akihiko agrees with her suggestion. As he prepares to leave, Akihiko apologizes to Kagami and asks her to take care of Kai and Meguru for a while. On a phone call, Kagami reports that only the possessed child and his infant sister are left in the dojo, with no servants nearby. A sinister man on the other end of the line replies that it went well. The man reveals that the drug Mayumi took only causes harmless, temporary dizziness, though he wouldn't have minded if it were poison. Kagami, alarmed, says she is heading over immediately. After the call ends, the man grips the armrest of his chair. He begins to laugh maniacally. He seethes with hatred, convinced that Akihiko's family does not deserve to be happy. Back at the dojo, Kagami ends her call. Meanwhile, Dauma looks at Meguru, stating that the time has come to make them understand the despair she once felt. With their parents gone, an evil hand closes in on Kai and Meguru. While keeping a watchful eye on his sister Meguru, Kai crawls towards her, determined to reach her. He playfully imagines himself as a devoted guardian, but his slow progress is a source of amusement as he tumbles forward. Landing on his back, he laughs at his own clumsy attempt, thinking how innocent his sister is. Dauma suddenly appears, commenting on how different he is now compared to when he was a baby. Kai questions this, believing he was just as innocent back then. Dauma insists he's totally different now, recalling that as a baby, he had the grim face of a monk in constant training. Kai internally refutes this, blaming Dauma's tendency to take over his body for his serious expressions. Kai realizes Dauma is trying to distract him from worrying about his mother. She admits she was just teasing and dismisses the topic. Kai then asks for her take on the current situation, but Dauma is confused about what he means. He directs her attention to the young servant girl, Kaomi, asking if Dauma has noticed her. He explains that Kaomi has been acting strangely ever since they arrived. While he's sensed something off about her before, it's never been this blatant. He feels she's hiding an ulterior motive. Kai suspects that this entire situation might be intentional. As Meguru starts to wander off, Kai calls for her to stay close. Suddenly, a door slides open, revealing a stern-looking man. Startled, Kai asks who he is, but the man instead commends the servant, Kaomi. Kaomi nervously addresses the man as Lord Akake. Kai turns to Kaomi, asking who the man is, a faint sense of recognition stirring within him. Akake reveals that Kaomi has told him everything. He states that he now understands that Kai is not under Dauma's control. Kai is shocked, wondering how this stranger could possibly know about Dauma. A memory flashes in Kai's mind. This man, the head of one of the 7 great families, was present on the day he was born. Akake mutters about how the curse of matricide failed to activate, then coldly declares that Kai must be disposed of. As danger looms, Dauma leaps in front of Kai, telling him to get back. Akake unleashes a powerful blast of dark energy. However, Kai pushes Dauma out of the way, taking the full force of the attack himself. Kai is shocked by his own sudden move. Akake is also surprised by the boy's actions. Kai is sent flying across the room. Akake coldly orders Kaomi to finish the job, and she hesitantly agrees. Kai stares at Kaomi in disbelief, questioning why she would betray him. He is stunned and confused about what is happening. Kaomi clenches her fist in frustration. Kai realizes he must get away from Meguru to avoid her getting caught in the crossfire. As Akake prepares another attack, Kai quickly distances himself from his sister. Kai's movement catches the man's attention. With Meguru crying in the background, Kai prepares his attack. He unleashes a flame art, sending a flame vortex hurtling towards Akake. The powerful attack blasts through the paper walls of the dojo. The attack dissipates, leaving Kai collapsed on the floor. Akake stands unfazed, mockingly asking if Kai wants to be disposed of together. Dauma desperately tries to get him to stand up, warning him that another hit will be fatal, but Kai is in too much pain to respond. Lying on the ground, Kai wonders if he's going to die again so senselessly. Akake declares this is the end, and prepares another flame art as Kai desperately tries to move. He finds he's completely paralyzed, unable to understand why. Just as Akake is about to strike, Kiyomi steps between them, shielding Kai. Akake angrily asks if this is an act of rebellion. Kiyomi respectfully addresses him. Akake accuses her of deviating from her mission. Kiyomi recalls a moment when Kai vowed to protect her. It was a hope she had tried to suppress but could no longer deny. Her initial caution, knowing Kai was Dauma's vessel, gave way to conviction over time. She tells Akake that for the past year, she has monitored Kai as requested. Akake acknowledges her report, understanding the concern that an unprecedented vessel child could cause a calamity. But Kiyomi counters, pointing out that in 5 years not a single disaster has occurred. She firmly states that Kai is not some dangerous heretic. Kiyomi continues her report, suggesting that Kai might not be a threat but an unprecedented savior. She explains that while he can be cheeky and act like an adult, he is fundamentally a normal, humble and kind boy. Akake remains silent for a moment. He then sneers dismissively. He unleashes a great flame vortex. In response, Kiyomi quickly erects a water wall to defend against the attack. The massive flame attack easily breaks through Kiyomi's defense. Akake mockingly calls her wall flimsy. He grabs her by the head, overpowering her completely. He brutally strikes her down. Kai can only watch in horror. He calls out her name as she collapses. Akake coldly states that he doesn't care for her sentiments and no longer cares who or what Kai is. Akake prepares a final massive attack, a flame art, Inferno. He declares that if she turns against him, he will simply dispose of her along with the boy, leaving their fate hanging in the balance. Akake condemns Kai as the child of a heretic and a traitor, declaring that it is only fitting for him to burn. He unleashes his flame technique, Hellfire, sending a torrent of dark energy hurtling towards the children. Kai panics, but Kagami steps in front of him, telling him to stay back. She quickly forms a water barrage to counter the incoming flames. Akake watches unimpressed, noting that Kagami is only a Class 2 exorcist. Akake condescendingly reminds her of his status as a Class 4 ability rank exorcist and the head of the Akake family. He questions if she's foolish enough to defy him. Despite her defiance, he seems pleased by her futile resistance. As Kagami cries out in pain, Akake unleashes another flame technique, trapping her in a waxen flame prison. He declares that if she insists on learning the hard way, he will be happy to teach her. He brutally strikes the restrained Kagami. He taunts her for enjoying being a punching bag for the vessel's brat. Unable to watch any longer, Kai grits his teeth and tells him to stop. Akake pauses, momentarily confused by the boy's intervention. Kai confronts him directly, saying that if his goal is to dispose of a heretical child, then he should just kill him. He insists that Kagami has nothing to do with this. Akake scoffs, stating that he simply judges anyone who harms him and will make Kai realize the consequences of his defiance. Akake reveals his true intentions extend to Kai's father, Akihiko. He admits that calling Kai a heretic is merely a pretext. The real issue is a lesson for Akihiko, born from a sense of unfairness. He muses aloud, wondering why Kai's mother, Mayumi, didn't die after giving birth to a vessel child. Akake confesses that Akihiko stole Mayumi from him. Kai realizes this is about a grudge against his father. He had been ecstatic to learn Mayumi was pregnant with a vessel child, believing her inevitable death would be the ultimate punishment for Akihiko. Consumed by rage, Akake screams that Akihiko is unfair. He despises him for losing nothing and gaining everything, Mayumi, a child and talent. He rants that it's all unfair as his dark energy swirls around him. He believes that taking just one precious thing from Akihiko would surely be forgiven. As Akake lunges, Kai realizes he can't get caught. He quickly uses a water technique, creating a vortex of flowing water to defend himself. Akake dismisses Kai's attack as an annoying trick, borrowing power from Dauma. Tired of the games, he decides to stop tormenting them slowly. He promises to burn them all to ash in an instant. Kai looks upon the devastation, feeling helpless. His body freezes in fear once more. Suddenly, a voice calls out to him, and Dauma appears before his eyes. Dauma tells him that if he doesn't want to die, he must surrender his body to her completely. She claims she could turn a wretch like Akake to ash in an instant. Kai is stunned, realizing she's offering to possess him. Kai considers surrendering everything to the strongest evil spirit. He knows it would be an easy and instant solution, and that it might be the only way. Thinking of his sister Meguro, he seems to accept his fate. He sheds a tear, seemingly resigned. But seeing Kagami on the ground, begging him to run away and live. For the precious things he must protect, Kai changes his mind. He thanks Dauma for the offer. He tells her he'll pass, much to her surprise. Dauma asks if he's worried she'll take over his body, and Kai admits that's part of it. Akake overhears him, mocking what he perceives as bravado to hide fear. Kai knows Dauma will eventually leave him, and if he keeps relying on her, he'll never be able to protect his family. He resolves to face his fear by himself. Akake sneers, claiming Kai is terrified and frustrated, which only makes his impending death more satisfying. He unleashes a massive flame technique, the Great Hellfire. He laughs manically, declaring that this is what Akihiko deserves. Akake gloats that they are now equal. Kai defiantly refutes him. As the flames engulf him, Akake is stunned. He sees Kai using the exact same technique, questioning how it's possible. Guided by his determination to protect those he loves, Kai has awakened the Exorcist's divine skill, Soul Arts. Now it is time for his counterattack. In the year